All right, so in a few minutes, my stepson James is going to be on WRTI, interviewed about his upcoming concert at Temple University. I'm going to put it on the radio here in the car. All right, hold on. And this should highly impress all you people and make you feel like pinheads, and rightly so, because you are pinheads. Listen to my stepson.
We listened to Cannonball Adderley and Milt Jackson from a...
Still waiting.
Reached out to me a couple of weeks ago and wanted to have a chance to talk about a project that he's working on coming up real soon. If you have an instrument in need of a musician, why not share it with a child? WRTI is proud to serve as a community drop-off point for Musicopia. This is your
Joy, we're still waiting for James to come on the radio.
And WRTI... As I said a couple of weeks ago, I got a call from James Collins. It actually was an email. And James indicated that he's going to be performing at the Underground. And it really intrigued me because I heard about the Underground here on Temple's campus, but have really infrequently, if not at all, attended any of the programs there. But when I got the note, I did a little bit of investigation, and it seems that there are some really nice performers coming into the series this year. I guess it kicks off with a performance by James Collins and additional Temple students that is going to be happening on September 18th, which is this coming Wednesday. So I wanted to invite James to come into the studio and talk about his music, and also talk about the series and what the audience can be expecting on the 18th of September. So James, welcome to the studios at WRTI.
Hey Jeff.
How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, good.
Yeah, James!
In the audience, a little bit about your music and what your concepts of your music are.
Well, on the 18th, it's going to be all original music, except for one arrangement of a monk standard. I think I wouldn't describe my music to any
James is
particular
talking.
subgenre of jazz or anything, but more of the music is going to feature types of music from different genres, some old, some new, but I think it all has a specific thing about the music that really shows that it's coming from me.
So certainly you're trying to establish your own identity within the music. It's got to have some improvisation, right? It's got to have some syncopation. It's going to swing a little bit. So you got all these different elements coming together. I guess what I should be asking more specifically is, how do you view your music when you present it to other artists and want them to interpret your music as well? Because you're going to have some other students performing with you, so you've got to give them a little bit of leeway, I guess, to help you interpret the music. But how do you approach it from that standpoint? When you write a composition, it sometimes could be as little as...
Let him talk!
It could be months or years.
Usually when I write, it can take from a couple days to maybe even a week. I like to really make sure. Sometimes there's something about a composition that I'm just not sure about, and I really try to make sure I stick with it, and always go back and make adjustments. But when I write, I like to write for the musicians that I play with. So I write with the understanding that they're going to interpret what I'm playing with their own sensibilities. But I do, if you ask any of the musicians I play with, I do give a lot of instruction. I really usually know exactly what I want it to sound like. So I do give them a lot to work with.
Well, it's your music, so you have the right, let's put it that way, to kind of make it, or have them make it the way you want it to sound. And that's a good thing. When you think about original compositions, and this is something that always intrigues me, James, is when you think about giving a title to a composition.
What
goes through your mind when you're thinking about it?
You have to go to the bathroom?
decide how
Really
you're gonna call
badly?
this Opus 1, or do you have,
No, I'm sorry. We have to listen to James on the radio. You can't go to the bathroom.
Song, a particular
James is on the radio.
name, and how do you go about that process?
Honestly, it's different for me every time. I usually try my best to not think too much about a song title. I don't like to change it once I put it, even if the name is kind of silly. People might make fun of me, but I usually go with my first instinct. Sometimes words will just come to my head that I'm reacting to. Or sometimes I already know when I write the song it's about something specific, like something that had happened to me yesterday that I reacted to and wrote a song about. It'll usually be something about that.
Okay. Now, how many pieces are going to be performing with you on the 18th of September?
We're going to do 8 songs.
How many musicians are going to be performing with
There's
you?
going to be it's going to be a septet, 7 musicians, including myself. It's going to be 3 horns and rhythm section with guitar.
Okay. And in that particular configuration, are all those musicians going to be playing on all the songs, or you kind of pick and choose what musicians you want to play on certain compositions?
Well, as an overall concept, I wanted to make sure that I could have a set that worked with the whole band. So even songs that I didn't previously have written for a septet, I tried to integrate. There's going to be one song that's just quartet, rhythm section with guitar, but the rest is going to feature all 3 horns.
All of the horn. As a musician, just learning your craft and deciding that you want to do this for a living, what are some of the obstacles that maybe you've been told about that you have not faced as yet, and how would you go about trying to knock down those obstacles?
I think one of the biggest obstacles that I've been told about that I know that is approaching and I'm hoping to prepare for is what to do when you graduate. I'm in my last year of school, and it's a lot of decisions to be made, whether to go to grad school, whether not to, whether to move to New York, because everyone says how New York is the place to be and how it can be tough to break in. But so it's really about just for me trying to make those decisions and asking all the great professors at Temple what they think, and from their experiences how I'm going to decide.
Don't move in New York,
You
James!
have to realize
Don't move to New York!
Decide if you want to be a full-time musician. If that's your goal, if that's your vision, then you have to pursue your dreams, right? And there are some
All right, move to New
obstacles
York.
that will come in your way, but if you feel good about who you are,
What?
what you've accomplished, and how you can continue to grow, then ultimately the only person that can stop you is you, right?
Definitely.
So with that in mind, it's certainly
I can't put you on the
advantageous when you have this
radio.
opportunity to perform in front of an audience, to
I'm not on
to
the phone.
really connect with them. In talking with a lot of musicians, that's one of the things that's most important to them, how they connect not only with the musicians that are on stage with them, but how they also connect with the audience. So, how do you feel you connect? How do you feel your music will connect with the audience? Is it accessible? Is it music that you have to really think in the cerebral tone, or is it something that that has kind of a hook to it that people can gravitate to, and it's easy for them to absorb?
Well, I think my biggest goal when I'm presenting music to an audience is to let it be known to the audience that it's honest and it's coming from me. I hope to really convince them that it's honest music coming from my soul. And people will say I can be a cerebral guy, so that does make its way into the music, but I try not to make that be an obstacle between the audience and the music.
Absolutely. I think that's most important, because you want the audience to come into your world as well as the other musicians on stage. And it's I think so important that you have that connection with the audience, because that will give you the opportunity to share your music with them and let them become an active listener to your music. So I think that's a good thing. You thinking about the possibility? You got a lot on your plate. You got to graduate first. You thinking about going to New York? And what about your connections, the networking that might be necessary also for you to achieve some of your goals? How much of a networking opportunity have you had through Temple, and to that connection in New York as well?
Well, what's been great about Temple is that Terrell Stafford has brought in so many great artists to come in for master classes. Recently, I had a chance to accompany Rodney Green for his master class, and so it was really nice to meet and play with him. And then the actual network of musicians at Temple has a lot of great professors from the Philadelphia area as well as people from New York. So I feel like I've had a chance to really get a sense of how things work in New York and, you know, what I can aspire to from the guys that teach from there, like Bruce Barth and Dick Oates. But
Good folks. Yeah.
and the professors from Temple too, and they're great. Some of them I'm blessed to have chances to play with when I hosted the jam session at Chris's, like Dan Monahan, Madison Rast, many others. Just great network all around.
Absolutely. I don't want to call this, and maybe I'm speaking out of turn. Is this considered a recital for you coming up on the 18th of September?
No, it's really just a performance.
Okay.
I mean, Terrell brings in these amazing acts to play at the Underground. It's a once-a-month series, and the students have an opportunity to perform and get booked there also by sending him their music. It actually took me a while to get the gig, 2 semesters in. That's how few shows there are and how hard it is to book. So after a second semester in a row, I was able to get a chance to perform there.
So it tells me that you must be something very special, because they're not going to just book anybody in there to come and perform. I was looking at the list of musicians and artists who will be performing throughout the course of the series. And the series is only during the school year. Is that correct?
Yes, it's only during the school year.
Yeah. So Jeremy Pelty's coming in, Wycliffe Gordon, Renee Marie, and the Jeff Hamilton trio. Jeff is an amazing drummer, and he's had my ear for a long time because he's played a lot with John and Jeff Clayton. Clayton part of the Clayton Hamilton Orchestra. So he's had my ear for a long time, and so has all these musicians have a chance to come in and perform. And you're kicking off the series this year, so you've got some musicians to let everyone know that they're going to be.
Well, on drums is going to be Austin Wagner, Jack Sanoski on bass, Jake Kelberman on guitar, Noah Hawker on trumpet, Seb Ebersol on tenor sax, and actually we have a special guest on alto sax. I think, forgive me if I pronounce it wrong, but Tom Zruziski. He's an exchange student from Amsterdam. We always bring a couple kids from Amsterdam every year, and they always sound amazing. So he's going to be on alto. And actually, a handful of those students are going to be bookending doing the last show in the series.
Okay.
The band is like a New Orleans band named Chelsea Reed and the Fairweather Five.
Okay.
And that's who Wycliffe Gordon's going to be the guest artist with them.
So they're playing some traditional New Orleans jazz. Is that what they're?
Yeah, they do it very well.
Is? Oh, good. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to have this conversation with you, because it's not often that students reach out. In fact, you might be one of the first students that reached out and talked about this underground series at Temple, and I was really pleased when you made the connection to let me know that you're going to be performing on the 18th of September on campus to kick off the series this year.
Straps on.
It's going to be a marvelous opportunity to come out and hear some aspiring musicians who have put a focus on their work and truly want to become contributors to this art form. And because oftentimes, a lot of musicians, new musicians, can like, or if you were to accept that as a premise to getting started, who would you say A would be this as a career, and B?
I try to take influence from so many different piano players. One pianist that has such a huge inspiration on me, and I'm not going to say this for myself, but I've heard from people say that I've sounded like Keith Jarrett at times.
Okay.
And I'm a huge fan of him. He's one of my favorites. He really kind of inspired me early on when I first got to Temple.
Are you originally from the Pennsylvania area, or where are you from originally?
I'm from Ambler.
Okay, all right, so you're close by. Yeah.
Fort Washington! You're from Fort Washington! Ambler.
Jared is from Pennsylvania as well. You know, so you keep it in the family in the state. And he's a marvelous player. You know,
Just like your brother and sisters.
Intense, because you mentioned the words.
All your brothers are
earlier. And you said there's some elements in your music that are there as well.
Liar!
So you're gonna have 8 songs in this performance, and if you could, talk a little bit about one of the compositions that you're going to be performing that maybe is one of your favorite compositions. Tell us a little bit about how it was structured and
Stop!
What was the maybe
Guys,
even what the name of it is.
Guys, the last time, be quiet.
Well, let me see. One of the ones I most recently wrote, and it's been kind of a journey, a little bit of a struggle working through with musicians. Probably one of the harder ones. It's uncreatively titled Tuesdays at Chris's, which was based off one of the jam sessions I had I ran at Chris's, and it was really great. So many musicians from the scene came out, and I wanted to kind of write a song that embodied my impression of that night.
Okay.
So it's has a lot of straight ahead elements. Kind of can sound like a Blakey tune at times. But there's like a lot of kind of odd amounts of measures, just some of the sections and some difficult parts towards the end that kind of to me embody some of the discord, some of the unexpected happenings that might happen at a jam session, as well as some of the better times, because there's a lot of good and bad. You know, some head cases will come in and cause a scene when they're there.
Indeed. Well, and then, you know, you also have that element of improvisation, so, you know, people can kind of stretch out sometimes, you know, if they take the melody line and just work it from there. I've seen it happen in Chris's a lot, you know, when, you know, musicians come in here and want to play, and sometimes, you know, depending on the musician, but as the band leader, you know, you have to, you know, kind of put them in check and make sure that they're aligned with everybody else in the band. I really appreciate the time that you've spent here just talking about your music. It seemed to me that you've got a focus on where you want to go and what you want to try and accomplish, and I think that you're well on your way. It looks like you've got a great foundation from here at Temple and all the musicians that you come around. So good luck to you in your future endeavors, and tell everyone once again, you know, if you want to invite them to come out to the Underground here on Temple's campus, the date, where it's located, if they want to come, they're certainly...
So the performance is going to be at the Underground on Wednesday, September 18th, this coming Wednesday. We're going to play from 7:30 to around 9, and the Underground is located at the Howard Geddes Student Center, which is at 13th and Montgomery Streets, and it's on the bottom floor. It's free of charge. Anyone can come, even if you don't go to Temple.
You know what? That's the operative word, right? You said free. You know, so come out and support these young students who are going to be future contributors to this genre. I know that at some point in time, Jane, want to record as well. I mean, you're starting to develop this body of work. There's always that trepidation as you move into real life.
I'm gonna after this Underground performance, I'm going to really gauge how it goes and see what I think about the band and just my compositions and where I want to go forward. But I think I have plans to record something this year. You know, we have a great new studio at the Boyer College of Music, and they have great rates for students. So it would be crazy for me to pass the opportunity by. And
sure,
I think at this point I have a working relationship with the musicians I'm with that it'll go smoothly. We can make some really good music and something I can use to promote myself.
Get your master in place, and then kind of take it from there and go wherever you want to go with it. Shop it around and make something happen. Well, good luck to you. You know, and you never know. I may show up on campus on Wednesday 18th and come in here.
All right, that did it.
James Collins.
Everybody go.
Yeah!
We love James!
Performance will be held at the Underground. It's located underground, which is the name, right? Makes sense.